Hello everyone, welcome to episode 9 of the Lewis Cooper Experience podcast experience. This is my Venom Pool builder figure. He's awesome. Look how big he is. But we're not talking about him today. I just wanted to show him. Look at his swords. This is going to be a special edition of this podcast experience thing because there's lots and lots of news to talk about. So I'm throwing the regular format out the window, which is actually over that way. No, it's over that way. And I want to talk about all the new Star Wars and Marvel things that are coming our way, because Disney made a big announcement on their Disney Investor Day thing, which everyone was really excited about, which is weird to get excited for an investor thing, but that's what the world we're living in now. Obviously, things being as they are in 2020, they've gone all in on Disney Plus, the home streaming service, so forget about theatres, don't worry about them for a few years. Theatres and cinemas, it's depending on what you like to say. So I'm going to go through. I've made notes on all of these shows. I'm going to go through them all and briefly give my thoughts on them. I may have missed some, so if I have, sorry. But so I'm going to assume if you're watching this, you're up to date on Marvel films, MCU, and Mandalorian, that kind of thing. So there may be some spoilers for some of that. So if you're not up to date on those, maybe come back later. But I'm assuming you are if you're watching this, or if you've heard about these shows anyway, because I'm not exactly the first person to talk about this, but I just thought it was interesting to talk about. At first, when I saw all of this, it started coming out quite late in the evening here, and I saw all the Star Wars ones, and I was like, wow, that's a lot. And then in the morning, I saw the Marvel stuff, and I was like, oh wow, that is also a lot too. And as I'm getting older, and new things scare me. So at first, I was a little bit like, oh, is this a good idea to do this much stuff? Because when Disney first took over and they were like, right, we're doing a Star Wars film every year now, boom, 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 and it got a bit much for most people, I think. Like, I'm fine with it, but I feel like it quickly drained people's interest in Star Wars. Like, the diminishing returns on the box office were quite clear. And I think Solo was kind of the turning point, because it was only about 5 months after The Last Jedi, which obviously at the very least had a mixed reaction, but we won't get into that now. So I think that kind of drained it, and then whoever the Disney CEO was at the time, I can't remember his name now, Bob Iger, I think it was. He was like, "Yeah, we've learned our lesson. We're not gonna overdo Star Wars anymore." And then it's like, bam! Here's 10 new shows, and you've got 2 movies. Get on it. But at least with streaming, people can kind of consume it at their own pace, and it's it's a bit more, bit easier to take in, kind of thing. And there won't be as it'll be probably more frequent in some ways, but every few months there'll probably be something new, which is fine. Same with the Marvel stuff. But I mean, one of my friend MJ Dixon, who I do my Gritty Reboots podcast with, or his Gritty Reboots podcast, I should say. He said, like, when we were kids, and he's much older than me, but when he won't watch this, so it doesn't matter. When we were kids, he said about how we only really had, like, the Batman movie, and then Batman Returns as well, and like the old Superman movies and like the Spider-Man movies from the 70s, which weren't great. And that was kind of all we had really, and a few animated series, and then obviously the comics. But and it seems silly to complain now that we're getting too much stuff. And I agree, really. At first I was like, oh, this is too much. But then I kind of go, do you know what? I don't have to watch it all, and no one has to. Like, it's there if you want to. It probably will drain people's interest a bit, because they got a good thing going, The Mandalorian. But then, they're just going to keep banging stuff out. So, but I mean, yeah, it is what it is. And I'm not going to complain about more things. Anyway, I'm chatting too much, so let's crack on with this. So the first one, we've got Ahsoka, which is a direct spin-off of The Mandalorian, and I think it's set in the same timeline, which makes sense, with Rosario Dawson playing the character as she did in the one episode of Mandalorian, which is cool, because she's a big fan favourite. She's a great character. She's been around for a long time now. So that's the obvious one, which we all kind of knew was coming, and hopefully that will carry on the story from Rebels of Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn, which will be really cool. We've got Rangers of the New Republic, which is the one we know very little about, and I'm assuming that's going to be the same timeline as The Mandalorian as well, because New Republic. Maybe it'll be the X-Wing pilots from The Mandalorian, I don't know, but we'll see how that goes. Andor, which is the Cassian Andor spin-off of Rogue One, about his character beforehand, which is an odd one, because I like Diego Luna, and that character was fine in the movie. I like Rogue One, but it's not. That's one of the first ones they kind of announced like ages ago, and it's just kind of. I don't really get it. I don't know why, But I mean, yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. He wasn't a particularly popular character, but we'll see what happens. I'm going to skip that one. I'm going to say the best ones to the end. The Bad Batch, which is a spin-off of the Clone Wars, which had their little trailer for that, which I thought was really cool. That's probably one of the ones I'm most looking forward to, because I like the Clone Wars. They popped up in the final season, most recent one, and they were quite cool characters. They were like clones that were slightly kind of off, but they have like particular roles. Like one's a tech one, one's a big one, one's a sniper and what have you. So they were pretty cool. There's another one called Visions, which is a series of animated shorts. I don't really know much about that. There's a droid story, which I think is animated, which is about R2 and C-3PO, and apparently a new droid, but I'm always a fan of anything with R2 in. He's my favourite Star Wars character. There's a trivia fact for you. They're going to do a Willow series based off the Warwick Davis movie as well, which I think could be a reboot. Actually, I'm not sure if it's a series or a movie. I think it might be a movie. And then they announced another Indiana Jones movie as well with 78-year-old Harrison Ford in it. So, I mean, that's, here's what it is. So the big ones are definitely going to be the Lando series, which I'm assuming will be young Lando with Donald Glover playing him, perhaps. This isn't my original idea, but I remember someone suggesting that ages ago, where they have Billy D. Williams kind of at the beginning and the end of each episode kind of saying, oh, this reminds me of the time I was on this planet. And then it cuts to the young Lando with Donald Glover, which I think would be cool, but then, you'd have to pay Billy D. Williams to talk for a bit. But, he's Billy D. Williams. Give him all the money in the world. I think that'd be cool. That could be a fun show. There's plenty you could do with a young Lando. There was a Lando comic series as well, which, adds a lot to it. And I thought he was really good in Solo, so that's cool. Another one is The Acolyte, which is supposedly a Sith-based story based in the days of the High Republic, or the Old Republic, which was a very popular computer game series a little while ago, Knights of the Old Republic. So that could be an interesting one, because that's one we've not really delved into much in like the main Star Wars media, especially that time period. Only really books and computer games and what have you. And the big one is the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, which, I'm not that fussed about really, which is weird, but I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, but I don't know what it's going to be, because last time we saw Obi-Wan, unless you watch Rebels, actually even in Rebels, he was on Tatooine, so is it just going to be him kicking about in the desert? I mean, but then they confirmed that Hayden Christensen is going to reprise his role as Darth Vader, which again is a weird one, because it raises questions on the timeline, like, is he going to be Darth Vader before he had the suit? Because I think it wasn't him in the suit. Like it's always it's normally like a I think in like Rogue One it was Spencer Wilding, who normally plays kind of monsters in films, and he's a guy who's normally in a suit, because you need like a big guy to play Vader. And I think Hayden Christensen, I don't think he's small, but I don't think he is like, obviously when Vader's in the suit he's augmented, so he's bigger and taller. But the thing is, it's kind of it. I think a lot of the fan base now is people who grew up with the prequels, and I was like, I was a kid when the prequels came out, but the original ones are my thing. Like I was old enough to know the originals before the prequels, and as the prequels came out, especially 2 and 3, I was an older teenager and kind of a bit more critical kind of thing. Like I was kind of like, whatever. When the first one came out, I was young enough still to be into it. And I don't hate the prequels, I'm fine with them. But Hayden Christensen wasn't that great in them. And I mean, I don't mean to be harsh on him, because he didn't do much after that, and I'm guessing it just wasn't his thing, which is fine. But people are quite excited about him coming back, which is cool, and that's great for him. But I mean, it seems weird now, when not too long ago people were not fans of his, and now it's kind of like everyone's like, oh yeah, brilliant, he's coming back. But I don't really know where he fits. But I mean, I don't mind. Fair play to him. He seems like a nice guy from what I've seen of him. So yeah. That is the wrap-up of the Star Wars shows. Also, we've got the Taika Waititi movie, which we know nothing about, which is still coming. And then announced Patty Jenkins, director of the Wonder Woman films and the film Monster as well, which is really good. She's making a Rogue Squadron movie, which for old-school fans is a pretty good shout, because Rogue Squadron's been around for a long, long time, like Wedge Antilles and that, and it was always the cool like comics and characters, and the N64 game as well, which is superb. And I would love to play right now. But yeah, we don't know much about it. There was a cool little video. It wasn't a trailer, but it was just Patty Jenkins talking about how, I think it was like her father was a pilot, so like aeronautics, I think is the term, has always been in her family, and like she loves like planes and stuff. So I'm guessing that's kind of building up. Like, it's all going to be dogfights and that sort of thing, like in X-Wings, which is pretty cool, because the dogfights in the original films are all based off of like George Lucas's love of like World War II films and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the roundup of the Star Wars news. I'm going to have a little drink of water, because I've been talking a lot. I should cut that out, but let's just keep it real. Why not? So moving on to the Marvel shows, the first one up starting in January is going to be WandaVision, which I'm looking forward to. I like the format of the Marvel shows because I think they're all 6 episodes, which is pretty cool. Like I like it's going to be a big budget but shorter time kind of thing. So they're going to be like extended movies, I think. But for the small screen. And WandaVision looks weird enough to be my kind of thing. And I really like Scarlet Witch, Wanda. Like, she's one of my favourite X-Men characters, or just Avengers, really. She's probably more than an X-Men character now. And I like Vision. And I think they've taken some cues from Tom King's Vision series from a couple of years ago, which I really liked as well. So I'm looking forward to that. It looks kind of a weird, almost horror kind of thing. And there's a few characters crossing over into that from other things as well. I think Monica Rambeau is going to be in it, who was in Captain Marvel as a young girl. And I think in the comics she becomes Captain Marvel at one point. I can't quite remember. But she's going to be in Captain Marvel 2 as an older person, because that'll be set in modern day rather than 94, whatever Captain Marvel was first set in. So I'm looking forward to that. Falcon and Winter Soldier, like, I'm a little bit mixed on. I'm not too fussed about. I'm not a big fan of either character particularly, but I do like both actors. I really like Sebastian Stan in particular. Looks a lot better with short hair in this trailer. But Daniel Bruhl's back as Zemo, which is cool because I really like Zemo and I like Daniel Bruhl as Zemo. And Wyatt Russell is in it, Kurt Russell's son, who I like, is in it as US Agent, which is one of my favourite obscure, well, not obscure, but not main Marvel characters. He's kind of the government version of Captain America. Like, he's the one who I think the government pick him to take over from Captain America in this storyline, and he's just always been a bit of a dick. So I like US Agent. The Loki series looks really interesting, really fun. Owen Wilson's in it as well, which is cool. Also, we've got the What If animated series, which I'm quite looking forward to. What If comics have been around for a long time, and they've always been pretty cool and pretty out there. I'm going to start speeding through these now because this is going on a bit. Ms. Marvel, which is a newish comic featuring Kamala Khan, who's a young Muslim American girl, and it's kind of a comic series that I think is aimed at teenage girls because it's about a teenage girl, but you don't have to be a teenage girl to read it. This can be one of those ones that's going to cause some nonsense on Twitter because people go, oh, it's a character who's not a white man, so therefore it's pandering to SJWs or whatever. It's just like, it doesn't matter. It's good to have representation. It doesn't make it forced or anything. Like, if I won't get into that whole thing, but like, yeah, it doesn't. Who cares? Just let characters be diverse. No one's forcing you to like them. Like, people could probably go and play that series, but then I reckon the target audience for this series again is going to be teenagers, teenage girls, and stuff like that. And like if they like it and they see it and they're inspired by this character, then great. That's what comics are for. It's we've got the Hawkeye series, which is recently confirmed. Haley Steinfeld, who I'm a massive fan of. She's a great actress. She's going to be playing Kate Bishop, which is cool. Jeremy Renner's reprising his role. The She-Hulk series, which I'm really looking forward to because I'm a big She-Hulk fan. Tatiana Maslany is playing She-Hulk. Mark Ruffalo is going to appear in it as well. She recently said she wasn't playing She-Hulk, but, actors. The Moon Knight series, which she didn't really talk about, but that's still under work. I think Oscar Isaac was playing Moon Knight. Moon Knight's a pretty, not obscure, but again, not one of the biggest characters, but he's got a real cult following. He's people say he's like Marvel's Batman, but I don't quite see that. He's a bit of an anti-hero in some ways as well. There's a Secret Invasion series too, which is cool, with Nick Fury and Ben Mendelsohn's character Talos, the Skrull from Captain Marvel. And yeah, I like that because when I saw the ending stinger for Spider-Man Far From Home, where the Skrulls were imitating Nick Fury and Kobe Smolder's character Maria Hill, I thought, oh no, they're doing Secret Invasion, and then it wasn't, but then they actually are. So I don't quite know how it's going to work, but it's looking forward to it. Ironheart, which is a newer series of a character called Riri Williams, who creates a suit of armor similar to Iron Man's. Again, that's not one I don't know much about, but that's an interesting one. Armor Wars, which is about Rhodey, a war machine. I hope they bring back Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer for that. That'd be cool. It's post Tony Stark's death. Spoilers. About his technology falling into the wrong hands. That should be quite interesting. There's a lot they can do with that. There's a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, which should just be a fun thing, I'm sure. I think they're going to film at the same time as the next Guardians film. And I Am Groot animated shorts as well. So the bigger news is the movies. We've got Black Panther 2's confirmed. They're not recasting Chadwick Boseman, which is a good call. I don't think anyone would like it if they did that, but they haven't quite said what they're going to do yet. But I'm assuming as Black Panther is a mantle, it can be passed on to a different character. I think Shuri, his sister, is the favourite for that, but we'll see. They've confirmed the long-time rumour Christian Bale is going to be in Thor: Love and Thunder. He's going to be Gore the God Butcher, which is a great name for a character. He's a newish character, I think, that I don't know much about, but I'm interested to see what Bale does with it because he's one of my favourite actors. Captain Marvel 2 confirmed, directed by Nia DaCosta. By the way, all these stuff I'm remembering, I've just got the titles written down, but I think that'll tie into the Ms. Marvel series because Ms. Marvel was quite influenced by Captain Marvel. Like, she's the one that her character looks up to. And like I said, I think Monica Rambeau will be in it again as an older version of herself. And then we've got the other movies confirmed. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is a great title. I'm looking forward to that. I like the Ant-Man and the Wasp films. But they've also again confirmed a rumour that Jonathan Majors is playing Kang the Conqueror, which I'm excited about in many ways because A, I really like Kang the Conqueror. He's a great character. 2, it further means we might get the Doctor Doom Kang the Conqueror team up, which I like. If you're a comic fan, you'll know what I mean. But also, Jonathan Majors is a really, really good actor. He's quite young lad. I think he's younger than me, even younger than me. And he was in Spike Lee's The Five Bloods. He was in The Last Black Man in San Francisco, which is a great film, and that was the film that I really opened my eyes to him. And he's the lead in Lovecraft Country, which is a good series. And he's just a really good, compelling young actor. And he's one of my picks to be a big deal in the future. And a villain role in an MCU film is not a bad start at all. But they also confirmed the big news. They're doing another Fantastic Four movie, which they've mentioned, but this is the first time it's been confirmed. And I'm a massive Fantastic Four fan. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll know that. And yeah, it's going to be directed by John Watts, who did the Spider-Man movies, which I think is good. I think he's got just the right sort of vibe for these films, judging by the Spider-Man films. I mean, the films he did before that, he did 2 indie films before this, which were quite drastically different. But I like his style, and I like the films he's done, or every film he's done really. So I'm looking forward to that. Whether we'll get the long-time fan-casted John Krasinski, Emily Blunt as Reed and Sue, I don't know. But I mean, I'm cool with that. I mean, hopefully we'll get a cinematic Doctor Doom and get it right this time. I'm fine with the other Fantastic Four movies, but they're not my favourites. And I hope they go the route of Reed Richards being a bit of a dick, because he is, and I hope they make Ben Grimm like the heart and soul of the team, which again he is. He always is. So I'm looking forward to that. And the other one is Spider-Man 3. Everyone's in it. I mean, if you've been on the internet, you've seen Spider-Man 3 news. I think they've pretty much all but confirmed now. The 2 previous Spider-Mans, Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, are going to be reprising their roles, and it's going to be kind of a Spider-Verse thing. And Alfred Molina is supposedly back as Dr. Octopus as well. So I'm hoping it'll be kind of cameos for everyone. Like, I don't necessarily need that whole thing, but then if there is a whole big Spider-Man Spider-Verse live action movie, I'm fine with that as well. But I like them to give Tom Holland's character kind of his own sort of space. But then he's had 2 movies to himself already, so we'll see what that is. But yeah, anyway, this has gone on for a long time, so I'm going to cut it short there. But there is my roundup and brief opinions on all of the Marvel and Star Wars stuff we've got coming our way over the next few years. It's a lot, but what else are you going to do? You can't go anywhere at the minute, so it's thank you very much for watching. If you stuck through to the end on this, I'm genuinely very impressed, and I really appreciate it. Let me know if you have, because that'd be cool. Please leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and please subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much.